Okay, well let me get another one of these done. This is from yesterday, Friday.
Play.
Oh God, I don't know. Let's see. This is this is sometime this week. Probably Friday night. And got on here, and this was on the number 2 Epic server, and for some reason we voted on Alien Sands here, which is something that hardly ever gets played. This is an old map. This is the Unreal Tournament 3 version of a map that used to be played on Unreal Tournament 2004. I forget what they called it on there. I think it was called Crossfire or something like that. But over here they call it Alien Sands. It's a great old map. It's a lot of fun to play it. They ended up voting on the non-orb version of it here, which is kind of weird. So it plays a lot like the old Unreal Tournament 2004, which means that it's a little bit slower. You don't have the orb there. You don't have the orb there to speed things up a little bit to make the attacks and the defenses a little more energetic. You pretty much have to slug it out the whole way out. Which, that's fine. I played Unreal Tournament 2004 for a long time. I'm pretty much okay with either way with it, but the orb definitely makes a difference in the way these things go. I think this was called Crossfire way back when. Oh, this ran right into him, didn't I? That's Polish running around in a Amanda, which is what he does. There's a ton of little tactics you can use on this map, a lot of which I forget. A lot of which is involved with a lot of which pretty much consist of like doing things like getting a tank up on top of one of them hills up in the middle of the map and just shooting the crap out of everything on the other side. You can there's places where you can park a tank up on one of them hills and from in the middle of the map and nail the enemy prime from there, and probably nail the enemy core, and basically controlling the map with a single tank. And these ruin structures all over the place, these column and platform things, you can get up on top of them and shoot from there. Like here, it's easy to get a man up on top of this thing. And I can see that enemy tank over there, and I can fly over here and sit on top of this here, and he probably doesn't even know I'm here. Just jump down on him. Once you get in that kind of a position with a tank with a mana, it's easy to take him out. And run this guy over. And what happened? Did I lose my signal? Hang on. Oh, never mind. It's just a crappy connector. Okay. We're struggling to hold on to our prime here. The node structure on this map is probably makes it pretty interesting. It's I guess it's basically a double front map, but it's not like most of your double front maps where you got two intermediates that both connect directly to the enemy prime. Instead, you got the only thing you access directly from your core is a single prime. Well, that's normal for a double front map, but then you don't have symmetrical. Then you don't have symmetrical secondaries, or you got one secondary that's also the center, and then your other secondary is off to one side there, and he connects. I believe he connects directly to the enemy secondary. I'm pretty sure. It's not really clear from looking at that map, but that's, I believe, what's going on. Yeah. I may not be clear on what's going on with that mini map. It's been a while since I've played this. I believe the primary connects directly to the center. Yeah. And then the secondary, then the primary, and then the secondary, then the first secondary connects to the enemy's other secondary, not to the center, I believe. Raptor just flew in and took me right out, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. Probably not going to find out from watching this first match, because we're just gonna get completely locked out of the map here for the duration. I'm trying to support that scorpion, but he's just running away. Yeah, we're losing it now. I got run over by the bender while I was looking the other way. Could have stole that guy's mana, but decided to get this thing instead. We picked up that mana. We're about to... Yeah, this is pretty much going to do it. I think we're almost out of here. Get a couple kills there. Yep, that's it for that match. We were down a man. And I'll have one more of these. We had somebody switch over. That's probably why we'll win this. So this one's more even though. Well, I finally got my hands on the prototype for Infinity Battlescape, which I paid $250 to get hold of, and I have no idea when I'm gonna have time to play it. Basically, I just gave it money because I like the look of the game. It looks really nice. It's just another spaceship flying game, but I don't think there's any trading involved. It's limited in scope. You're limited to a single solar system, and I don't think there's any real trading involved. The focus is on dogfighting. And it's a very small development team, but from what I saw in the videos on YouTube, I thought the controls looked really good. I thought it looked like the ships were very responsive, and they used Newtonian physics on the ship, so so the movement was pretty lifelike. And when I played the prototype briefly, and yeah, it is like that. The controls are responsive. It's a lot of fun to fly. It's pretty easy to fly, which I didn't really expect. And there is actually a flight assist, which I turned off pretty quickly, and that really surprised me because I was still able to fly this stuff. The main thing stopping me from playing it well, I'm probably never going to play it constantly, but I want to try it at least a few times, and I'd kind of like to get in there and do a capture and do a video on it too. Although it's pretty much exactly the same prototype that was in the hands of a few people a couple months ago, and that they put several videos up on YouTube about already. It's pretty much the same prototype. They've just simply distributed it to all the big high rollers like me who gave them a couple $100. And that's the prototype they're going to have. That's the only way you get to play the game at this point until they get an alpha or something out there, which might be a while. Like I said, it's a real small development team. There's only like maybe 2-3 people working on it. 2, 3, 4, something like that. But I think it's... Oh, this tank, there's no way yeah, I screwed up that. Okay. But yeah, I'm a little bit... No, I'm not gonna get up there on foot, no. But yeah, you know, what with having to work like a dog all the time and do all kinds of useless overtime, and having no time to myself whatsoever, and having to play Elite Dangerous constantly, because that is what I do. Let me put you on hold here for a second. One moment, please. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, what with having to, spend all kinds of times and all kinds of worthless shit that I don't care about, but that I'm sort of forced to do because I'm basically a slave. I don't have all the time in the world to play these video games. I wish I did. Because there's way too many for me to mess around with. And, sorry to say, or sad to say, or glad to say, or whatever it is, it's probably the only thing I really care about doing, playing these stupid video games. I've been playing it pretty much most of my life. I think the first computer game I ever heard of was the old, well, way back in the 70s, they had, there was this computer game that was played on, mostly on college mainframes, and it was Star Trek is what it was. It was a simulation. It was a Star Trek simulator, I think is what they called it. And this was primitive. This wasn't even played on a CRT. It was played on a line printer. You got a line printer report on your current situation, and then you entered your command on your keyboard, and then the line printer printed out the results of your commands and your new situation, and you continued from there. And it was basically a simulation of you running a starship, if I remember correctly. It would tell you, you know what your ship status was, and it would give you a little ASCII text map, and it would show you like any Klingons that were around, this kind of crap, and it would tell you the status of your weapons and your power and all that crap. And you would tell it things like, okay, fire, and target, fire, and do all these other kind of things. And this is the kind of thing that people did back then. And then, sometime in the late 70s, you started finding people getting hold of these Radio Shack TRS-80, the Trash 80, and the Apple II. And all those kinds of things, and they'd have text adventure games on those. That was the main thing they had with them. They had Colossal Cave Adventure, which is a classic, which is one of the few games that I've ever played all the way through. They had Zork eventually, which you can still get Zork 1, Zork 2, Zork 3. You can get them as ports and play them on the PC. I don't think you even need DOSBox for them. I think they'll play it like just a regular command prompt. I'm not sure. I've got them on this machine somewhere. Zork, I never got all the way through. Zork was hard. The puzzles in Zork, they defeated me. I'm not a huge puzzle expert. It doesn't take much to stun me. I always liked Zork. It was a real classic game, but yeah, it was a bit little too much for me, Myst was like that too. I never got all the way through Myst. I was like, what the fuck, I knew I was supposed to do something at this point, but damn if I can figure it out. So maybe a bunch of fucking levers and shit there. So let me see if I can get him out. Yep. It's nice getting Manas out with the rockets. It's a little bit harder to do with that than it is with them Avrils. They usually get away from you. And then of course there was all the arcade games, of which I never played a huge number. The main one I played was Asteroids. I liked Asteroids mainly because there was an exploit you could use to basically play the game all fucking day on 1/4. And it was fairly easy to learn. And once you had that down, you could save all kinds of money, get all kinds of entertainment on it. So that was well worthwhile. But most of your arcade games, they were basically designed to take your money, to intrigue you enough to get you to put another quarter in, but then designed to rapidly increase in difficulty to get you off the machine, so that somebody else could come along and put a quarter in the motherfucker, or so that you could put another quarter in and try it again. So your really successful arcade video games these were the design parameters. You know, they were unlike your modern PC video games in that the whole point was to suck them quarters out of you. Whereas here, with your modern games, the whole point is to suck the price of the game out of you, and then after that you get to play it forever. So the motivation of the developers is significantly different in that respect, I guess you could say. It influences the kind of games that are going to get written, you know. I mean, if modern PC games required you to stick a quarter into the drive slot or something every time you played, these PC games would be very different from what you're playing now. You know, you wouldn't be having these Skyrim type of things, you know, because you know they're not going. Nobody that's working for quarters is going to give you a game like Skyrim to play for 6 hours at a time on a quarter. You know, they're going to. Well, you see how that works. I'm rattling about that. So, you know. Still got Asteroids too. I got that on a MAME emulator. The MAME emulator is awesome. It gives you you can pretty much play every arcade game ever written, every arcade game that they ported to the MAME emulator anyway. And there's thousands. Although I don't spend a huge, you know, like I said, I never played a huge number of arcade games, but I've got Asteroids on here somewhere, and it's nice. It's the originals. And then after that, what did they have after that? After them arcade games. After that, I had to quit playing video games for a long time because basically I had to work for a living. And arcades, you know, they suck money out of you. And didn't really have a whole lot going on with, well, once I started putting PCs together, you know, instead of just screwing around with, you know, the Apple and all that shit. Those computers were pretty expensive back then, and they weren't all that powerful. And pretty much the only thing to play on them was arcade games and Breakout and things like that. That didn't really compare favorably with the arcade games that you could play for a quarter or so. Once PC started taking off in the 90s, more or less, then I started putting PCs together, and then I started looking at the games that were available there. And they started out being a lot like the arcade games, but, you know, as I said, the design goals were different, so they pretty quickly evolved and changed into more or less what you see here. So. And they were random things, you know, like platform games. Well, you know, there's a million videos on YouTube about all them old games. What is it, Crystal Caves and God knows what. My memory's shot by all. There's just a sort of a muddied stream. And then you get things like Half-Life and Unreal, and that's pretty much where what I consider the modern situation started coming in. The first Unreal, that was a big deal for me. That was like nothing I'd seen before, and I really liked that game. Although I'd have to say the first Half-Life had the best story I've ever seen in this kind of a game. That was pretty remarkable. You don't get too many games like that. I haven't seen anything else to compare it to. I mean, there's been games where you could say that it was influenced by Half-Life, but I haven't seen anything to compare with it really. What was that game? Fear. That was pretty obviously I thought that was pretty obviously influenced by Half-Life, but it didn't come anywhere near to being as good in terms of story. I mean, although it was a fun game to play. Mainly, you know, for the combat, for the shooting. Yeah. But yeah, it pretty much ends with this game right here. This is the last game I've run across that I really felt like ever spending any time on. I suppose at this point it's becoming somewhat dated. I mean, the graphics in here were really state-of-the-art in what was it, 2007? It's been 9 years. been damn near fucking 9 years I've been playing this silly game. And all these other people too, you know, you see them, there's nothing else like it for at this point. I mean, considering that these people that you're looking at here have been playing this game for 9 years, they know every fucking inch of these maps. They know everything you can do on these maps. You get them together on a team like that. There's probably the only people on the planet that are qualified to play against them are the teams made up of their own numbers, you know, and other people out there who have played this game in the past and have wandered away from it. You know, we get them coming back once in a while. You know, it's like, oh, I haven't played this game for years. We're like, yeah, good, welcome back, man. And they generally, you know, they pick it up right away because they remember this shit. Yeah, I always like this map. It's a shame. That's one of the things I always regret about this game is that these maps like this, which are not really standard. I'm pretty sure this was a third-party map. This was a custom map, and I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I don't think this was ever standard in the game. And this version we're playing here is just somebody's port of it. It's just a damn shame that, unfortunately, these kind of custom maps tend to kill the server just because in order to play them, if you don't have it on your hard drive already when it gets voted in, you got to download it, which keeps you out of the match for a few minutes or however long it takes for your connection to download the map. So, unfortunately, these kind of maps just don't get voted. Tends to be the same standard 3 or 4 maps all the time, the stock ones. Yeah. Epic never came up with a good solution for that, unfortunately. Which is understandable because they never got the commercial success out of this game that would really be required to justify them putting that kind of effort into it. I really feel bad about it because, you know, this is they made this awesome fucking game. This is probably it's all just opinion, of course, but, you know, I mean, I just think this is the best video game I've ever played. It's just got nothing, you know, in terms of the market. Well, there's a lot of games out there that are just really awesome, and they get no response at all. Basically, because the public are fickle sheep. You know, they're brain dead, limping proletariat, and they're slaves to the modern media, you know, and their heads are buried in the TV, and the news announcer tells them what to think, and they're prisoners in the chains of their own ideology, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all they really like to do is get drunk and watch football. They're idiots, is what I'm saying. But there is a person in that vendor, and I'm thinking, well, if I get out, I can steal it. But he's sitting there quiet, waiting for me to do that, so he can kill me. That's Banger's doing there, being an asshole. Okay, I really hate this flying vehicle, but it's available, and I can use it to take Bangers out. Which there he is. He's decided to come out forward now. No, or is that Cochi Loco? I guess I did get Bangers. Okay, he's probably still over there. Well, yeah, you can see we're wearing him down now. We've got the numeric advantage unless somebody else has entered, unless somebody else has joined. Oh, let me steal your man out of there. They'll probably take me right out. But Red's making a play for their secondary. Yeah. They may actually, yeah, and it looks like they got the center too. So yeah, this looks like their big comeback moment. But I don't think we're gonna let them get away with that. We got a tank advancing over there on the left. I could support him, but I'm gonna go over here and try to keep that center from going down. And they're rapidly building it. I'm probably gonna suicide this into there. And, yep, that knocked it out. Ah. And those red manas turned right around and took me out because they saw that happen. So, let's see if I can get this guy out. He'll probably whip an Avril. Yeah, he did. But ditched it in time. Okay. Oh man, this takes a long time. I really ought to record these while I'm playing. I ought to figure out how to walk and chew gum at the same time, so I can save myself the 20 valuable minutes that I spend doing these voiceovers, and I could use that time to do something important, you know, like play Elite Dangerous. Jesus, I'm having all kinds of trouble. Well, I finally saved up enough money to upgrade the ship. I was in that Type 6 transport, which I hated because it had no weapons, you know, although it carried a decent amount of cargo for its size. But and then my upgrade option was the Type 7 transport, which carries twice as much cargo and still has shit for weapons. But I could make more money with it, and then I could get enough money to, you know, and I could move more liberal propaganda and get my top rank and get my $50 million salary, which is the ultimate goal at this point. That's the main thing I'm looking at. But then when I finally got together the cash to buy the Type 7 transport, I got on the website there and looked up and figured out what station I could go to pick up the transport and get all the upgrades that go with it. And got over there and looked it up, and yeah, it was there. But then they, at the same place, they had a federal dropship. And I hadn't looked at a federal dropship, but then I looked at it, and the federal dropship, it had a little more cargo space than the Type 6, but it could carry. It had two medium weapons hardpoints, and it had a single large weapon hardpoint, and about four utility mounts. And I said, oh, okay, well, you know, I could do that. You know, I could get hold of this thing, and then I could run bounty hunting missions. You know, I could maybe do some piracy. Even I don't really want to do piracy, but bounty hunting I could do. That would be all right. I really kind of need the cargo space, but what the hell? I mean, if I'm making money, I mean, it's not gonna actually save me a huge amount of time to have 200 tons of cargo instead of 100, because you still have to wait 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever it is to pick up your next load of propaganda. So either way, and the Type 7 is slow. It's much slower than the Type 6, which is pretty slow by itself. So I was a little concerned about my ability to run away in that Type 7 from these horrible assholes who buy their pythons and their anacondas even, and get out there and upgrade the fucking hell out of them, and then just go out there and just wantonly shoot at the poor honest folks like me who just want to get rich, you know, and buy anacondas and pythons and shoot people. These horrible people who do that, and my only defense in these cargo ships is to just run away from them, you know, and I'm a little concerned about my ability to do that in a Type 7. Oh, okay, well, I'll shut up about that. I'll try to get another one of these out here. Have a good day.